soul. We've traveled around the world and we're still roaming. Soon we'll be 30 years old. I'm still learning about life. My woman brought children for me, so I can sing them all my songs and I can tell them stories. Most of my boys are with me, some are still out seeking glory, and some I had to leave behind. My brother, I'm still savvy. Soon I'll be 60 years old. My daddy got 61, remember.
Hey, good afternoon, VCV, Facebook fans, group, and LinkedIn. How you doing? This is your favorite CEO from Veterans Council Veterans, giving you an update for our upcoming conference where I'm very, very excited. Before I do that, though, I always got to do my intro. Oh, how you doing now? Here we are on Tuesday, and I got a lot going on. But the most important thing is, one of the things that Veterans Council Veterans is what we got an initiative on is for serving elderly veterans. What people don't realize is that the demographics that's dying by suicide the most, the rates that's increasing, are the elderly veterans. And so when I thought about it, there's two demographics that are really just missed when it comes to taking care of the veteran. One is our family. Their family need more access to mental health and care, but also our elderly veterans. Florida has over 719,000 veterans over age 65. And when you start talking about elderly veterans, one thing I found out was that depending on what number you look at, it can be up to 13% of the veterans have been diagnosed with dementia. In fact, if you have TBI, and spread this as well, if you have TBI, 60% of veterans who have TBI have been diagnosed with dementia. But that's not what our whole program is about. It's a lot more than that. But for those of you guys just catching up, Veterans Council Veterans, we're having our second conference in the next couple of weeks. That's going to be in Pinellas. This conference is going to have information that can help you out when it comes to the elderly veteran, how to support them. And it's just not the veteran that we were looking at, but look to the family as well. The families are just as important when it comes to the veterans as well. And what I want to talk about is, I want to talk about our agenda. Now take a look at this agenda. This agenda is what I call the full village, right? Because it takes an entire village to really be effective when it talk about anything. But for the veterans itself, we got the Geriatrics and Extended Care from the Bay Pines VA. We have, and I'm so honored, and I'll talk about a little bit more about Lieutenant Colonel Richard Corcoran. Richard Corson is going to be talking about what I call first contact with dementia, which is what we consider community. We're then going to have a rundown on nursing homes by the Florida Department of Veteran Affairs Deputy Bob Azzalo. Then we're going to have veterans, and when I say the whole village, in this case, so not only we have state, federal, and county. County, we're going to have Michael Swanger, who's also the director for the Pinellas County Veteran Services. Caregiving. People need to know what am I eligible for? What kind of service can I have if I have an elderly veteran that we need to be taken care of? So we're gonna have somebody to talk about. We're gonna have Kimberly Bridges talk about the Caregiver Program. We're gonna have family members with Dr. Colin, who is an expert and is trained in geriatric mental health, and some people who serve these. They have family members who are taken care of. One thing I always asked from our last conference is do you have a scale when it comes to identifying PTSD and dementia, that kind of stuff, when it comes to depression, when it comes to elderly veterans? There needs to be one. And I was told that there isn't one. There's the same scale. So that needs to be checked as well. And I tell you, this is again, I'm only going to be talking about this. And finally, at last, we have elderly law that's just as important. What kind of stuff should we be having if we're taking care of elderly veteran? Well, power of attorneys, wills, all that trust. We need to have that. So we're going to have a conversation about some of the things we need to have when we're taking to elderly veterans. And we're going to have a small segment of 30-minute segment on disaster, because we're right there in the hurricane season. And what are our veterans going to be doing when who do they contact? Who connects with them? Who makes sure they're good? They're getting taken care of. Some I want to talk about at this conference. So tell you, I'm excited about that. And I mentioned I wanted to talk about a couple of our guests who are actually part of this. And one of them is I just mentioned earlier, Bob Azala, who is the deputy director for Florida Department of Veteran Affairs, and he's going to talk about the nursing homes. And I believe Florida right now has 9 nursing homes, and they're about ready to build their 10th nursing home. And so if there's anybody that's knowledgeable about nursing homes that are actually out there for our elderly veterans, it's definitely going to be Bob Azala. And we're going to ask a couple more questions as well. So we got the deputy director is going to be there talking about this, giving us that information. One of the biggest things when you take care of elderly veterans is their health, short-term care, long-term care, in health care. All those things play a major part. But what we're more excited about is our guest speaker, Lieutenant Colonel Richard Corson. And, I always, always say veterans counsel veterans, a God assignment. And I know Rich, I've been to a couple of Richard's events because he's the CEO for the Green Beret. And every quarter he has have us all the veteran organizations get together so that the special operation guys know what sports out there. Well, I read a post that Richard put out a couple of days ago explaining that Richard has been pre-diagnosed with dementia. He's not having any symptoms or anything, but he has been pre-diagnosed. And because of and one of the things being in the military, especially with taking care of your soldiers and their families, Richard said, look, I want to get out there and I want to talk about this. I want to make sure we have awareness and protection and stuff like that. And I said, Richard, guess what? Your first cutting teeth will be at our event on the 2nd, if you're available. And he said, no problem. So Richard will be there. I'm very excited. And that Richard's part of the community. So there's 4 major elements when you want to create some kind of what I call a community. And one is federal, state, county, and community. So in this case here, the Bay Pines VA is the federal. Then we have the Florida Department of Veteran Affairs, which is the state. Then we have the Pinellas Veteran Service, which is the county. And the community is people like Richard. And we have I didn't mention on that agenda. We have Brandon Robinson, who's going to be talking about the care. He's a part of the community. He's the law part. And he's going to talk about that. It takes an entire village. So again, put that out there about that event. Please share. I always say sharing is caring and share is caring. So this is a quick update. And I'll be putting some information out there for people who are interested in this event. I want to definitely talk about, I'll be putting out more about the registration. There's still time to register. There are still time to register. Seats are there. It's going to be at St. Pete College, as you see right there, St. Pete College at the Gibbs campus, 6500 5th Avenue North. And it's going to really talk about those who are in the Pinellas area, county area. If you're from the Bay Area, you can still come over and see and hear and listen. And we're going to have a small discussion on what to do when we have a hurricane, who to talk to, who's managing us, and what we should be aware of when doing it. So, there you have it. What's coming up for Veterans Council Veteran, 20th of June, from 9 to 3 at St. Pete College, where we have our event called Serving Elderly Veterans. So we can sit there and actually start paying attention to the elderly veterans, the ones that paved the way. We always say Vietnam veterans paved the way. These are the ones that paved the way, and we need to make sure we're taking care of them because a lot of people looking at us, we're looking at as well, but are we taking care of elderly veterans? Well, I guess you guys have a great rest couple of your days. You may see me off and on again as I promote this event. Until then, again, on June 28th, this Saturday, 9 to 3, you have an elderly veteran or you support an elderly veteran or you're an elderly veteran, you're a dog. And all this is free for veterans, military, family members. This is free. All you got to do is be there. Information is key. Information is a great equalizer. I always say that information is a great equalizer when it comes to equality. So see you then on the 20th of June. Until this is Tony Williams from Veterans Council Veterans. Outro. Oh, I want to put some in the comment too. If you want to know what register, those who are interested in registering, I'll put it in the comments right chair. Read the comments right here. Register, register, register. Okay, see you again.